actually. Wow. Hi, everyone. How is everyone doing today? What's up, Power Stop, ATL 2023? Fellow nerds, hello. So, we have some really amazing people sitting on this panel next to me from the ATL cosplay community. These guys work really hard to not only show love to their favorite characters and their favorite fandoms, but also promoting diversity and inclusivity in the cosplay community. So please welcome Cosplay Your Way. Round of applause. All right, so we can just go down the line and everyone introduce themselves and what they do.
I am Trina, also known as Reeves, Super Fit with Ree Cosplay. I combine my love of fitness and cosplay all into one, so that is me.
My name is Larry McAllister. I am Larry Love One, and I just, I think yours working again.
He talks.
Okay, can y'all hear me? Okay. My name is Larry McAllister. On Instagram, I am Larry Love One. Larry McAllister One. And I just love to cosplay, and I like to make it fun. So.
I'm Bar Fox, 2Rs, 2Xs. I'm the creator of Cosplay Your Way. In the day, I am a television and film producer. So I was able to combine two of my loves, cosplay in creating and producing, with my documentary Cosplay Your Way in Color that is now on tour with Geek Fest Film Festival, and it has won 2 Telly Awards to date. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Walter Dean. I am a costume designer who designs under the name of Dean's List. Some of you may have seen some of my work from people walking around cons, or if you saw the Marvel Becoming Dora Milaje, that was me. And I guess that's me.
Hi, my name is Myron Abernathy. I go by Smooth Cosplayer on all the social medias, except for maybe Snapchat. I'm a little too old for that one. But I am a cosplayer, also a salsa and bachata instructor. I teach some classes at conventions as well. Also, not so shameless plug, voice actor, trying to get work. So yeah, but yeah, that's it.
My name is Dwight Dunbar. I'm a classic gamer / comic geek and owner of Shattered Images LLC, where I sell fabrications of cosplay armor, props, and helmets and statues.
All right, that's amazing. Big panel today. So this is a question for everybody. What originally got you all into cosplay? Because cosplay is like a very specific type of costume and costume design and character play. So what got you into that? Y'all can popcorn or y'all can go down the line. It don't matter.
We're all like, what? Which one? You go for it, Ree. Go for it, Ree.
Actually, my cosplay started years ago with the person down there who was attending Dragon Con before me, which is one of the big conventions here in Atlanta. And he basically came home one day and was like, hey, babe, I was at the con and I see all my friends with their hot wives in costume. And I got to thinking, well, I have a hot wife. And I was like, oh, Lord, where is this going? And so, yeah, I got kind of roped into going into the deep end with Dragon Con, and I cosplayed as Rogue from X-Men and also Chun-Li from Street Fighter. And I have been cosplaying ever since. I pick my own costumes, I make some, I commission some. I'm very talented.
Yes,
period. Very talented.
Period.
For me, I've always liked costumes. I was always into Halloween. I didn't know that this existed. So when I got introduced to it, it was a utopia for me. And it was in 2006, maybe, I was introduced to Dragon Con. And I had a friend that was like, you always like to wear costumes. I see a whole group of people down here in costumes. Why are you not here? And that's all I needed to hear. I was like, what's in my closet? I'm putting it on. I'm going down there. I don't know who I'm going to see, what I'm going to run into, but they will have to accept me because I'm coming in strong. And I got there, and I just fell in love. So I've actually gone to Dragon Con every year since then. And in that process, you know, we saw different things, and that's how Cosplay Your Way was birthed and everything. But it just was a wonderful process to get started. And I don't think we started calling it cosplaying until what year, guys? I know I'm making myself old, maybe 2011?
We don't remember. I'm too young for that.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah, so Bar Fox and I started at the same time. Our friend introduced us to it, showed up, and didn't have a costume for the first Dragon Con, but immediately it was hooked. Second one had to have a simple costume, and after a few years wanted to do something really nice. So I paid somebody to make a costume for me. It was super expensive. So I decided to learn how to sew so I can make my own, and now I cosplay and I commission and make costumes for other people.
And for me, I guess you basically got me into
I forced him into it.
Yeah,
Peer pressure.
peer pressure.
Peer
you know.
pressure.
But luckily, it didn't take that much, forcing to do. So I was already into, watching the superhero cartoons and stuff like that. But I just never known about the conventions. And so my first cosplay, that was an interesting one. It was a mashup between a lot of stuff. That somehow I found a whole group of people with the same stuff on. So it was amazing. I loved it, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah, his costume, we just made something up. I think we took a jail suit and we threw a shackle on his foot. And then
ball and chain.
Then we threw a mask on his face that looked like Michael Myers. And then we were like, just come, whatever. And interestingly, that year, literally, it was like 30 people dressed in jail suits with zombie makeup on. And they saw him and was like, oh my God, you're our leader. And we were like...
So they was like, well, what is your name? I said, the demon from hell. So I had to come up with something quick.
Instantly had a group of people, photo shoots. I was like, we worked all year on our costume. 2 years together. He had the best time ever.
And walked with a pronounced limp. So I was really getting into it.
You gotta love the community of it. You just...
So I had my start at Dragon Con as well. I think that's what everybody here. I don't know. So I actually used to work a couple blocks from here. So every Labor Day weekend, I always get those confused. Every Labor Day weekend, I would see just the overflow of all the cosplayers downstairs when I would go on my lunch break. And I'm like, I need to get in on this. I've been a geek all my life, so I'm like, okay, let's do this. I procrastinated for like 4 years, I think, because something would always either get in the way or I'd forget. So once I finally did, it was history from there. I went to Dragon Con, had jaw on the ground the whole time. So just like Jabar, no, I actually missed one Dragon Con. It was 2021 because I didn't realize until too late that they were going to, require vaccinations and everything. I'm like, if I would have told me that in the beginning, I would have planned for it. But that's the only one that I've missed. Like, it is COVID or death is what would keep me from Dragon Con, basically. So yeah, so that was 2012. Yeah.
Dedication. Love it.
Well, for me, I've always been going to conventions because I've been a comic collector most of my life. So I went for that particular reason, just geek cultural stuff. And over the years, watching cosplayers here and there, it excited me. And just one day the bug hit me, so I went home. And as you heard, I convinced Superfit with Reeves Cosplay to put on a costume. And then, of course, I wore my first costume, and it was at Dragon Con. And then the bug also hit me since I was an artist to take my style and put it into cosplay and see what I could do with my personal skills between sculpting and working in different media. What can I create? And it was from there. I mean, look at us now. We're out here in panels. We're rocking in feature documentaries from Bar Fox, and we're getting to have things where I get to teach people my craft. So it's been good to me all this time.
What I love from what I heard about, we all went to Dragon Con and we didn't know each other. And now we have this bond and this camaraderie. So I just want to make note of that. That's just amazing that individually we were all coming to a place, didn't have a clue what was going to happen, who we were going to meet, and now we have a nice fit. And Dana's sitting over there, and Dana is a strong part of Cosplay Your Way. So don't let her fool you.
Yeah, Dana.
She's sitting over there.
Great.
She has our pictures. She's a model, a cosplay model. She's done it all. So Dana holds it down. She's trying to sit over there in the corner and be all demure today. That should say all hail Dana, right?
So what was the inspiration into the creation of Cosplay Away and then later on the documentary?
Okay, so sadly, the inspiration for Cosplay Your Way, it was born out of disrespect. And I said that I was at the con, I was watching people take pictures, or photographers take pictures of people, but would not take pictures of people of color. They were spending 20 minutes on one person, and then if a person of color stepped up, they would do a second or a half a second and say, I got your picture, you're fine. And yes, I could complain, and yes, I did complain, but I wanted to do something else about it and something more pertinent. So I was in the industry, I knew photographers, so I was like, well, why don't I create a space where people of color are treated the same, or anybody that wants to come and take pictures are treated the same, but definitely they can get these pictures taken because we put on these costumes, we want a good picture. It's just that simple. And for people to take that from you, I just wasn't a fan of that. Now, I'm not saying that everyone should love you and love what you're doing and just give you all these accolades, but if you're out in a public space taking photos, treat everyone fairly. If you want to be discriminative in your way or whatever, you do your separate shoot in your separate corner and invite the people you want to invite. But you're in public, you treat everybody fairly. So that's how it came out. I was like, people should be able to cosplay their way, and you just like to cosplay, and it came from that. The documentary came from, we would do annual photo shoots every year, and I would invite novice cosplayers as well as beginners to come out to the shoot, and let's just capture you. And we would invite a lot of photographers out, Dana's one of them, and we would just make sure you had really good photos. And after 2 years of that, of course, the pandemic hit, and I wanted to keep my creative juices flowing, and I was like, what can I do? And I was like, oh, I have all this footage and all these wonderful people, so let's showcase them in some way. So I started putting together the documentary. Luckily, I could edit, so I didn't have to call someone else. Luckily, I had these skill sets, right? And my friends, since I work on shows, I'm like, hey, do you mind scoring this for me? And they're like, oh, yeah. So I got to call in a few favors. And after that, I dropped it, I put it out. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I know a lot of people go to YouTube first or some other places, but I was like, I want to do the film festival circuit first and see what happens. And then I entered it for the Tellies, and it won 2 Telly Awards. It's still in the film festivals, because like right now it's on tour with Geek Fest Film Festival. And
Nice.
I'm just very thankful. It went to Cannes Short Film Festival. It was in South Africa. So I'm like glad somebody is seeing it besides me and my mom and them.
That's honestly amazing. Everyone, I'm always big about cosplay as well because there's a lot of discourse, I think, in the cosplay community about like who should cosplay, what character, what cosplay should this character be. What are y'all's opinions about that?
Well, for me, cosplay has always been about fandom. And fandom doesn't know color. You know, I grew up reading a bunch of comic books, and there were very few people in comic books that looked like me at the time. So there was no way I was just going to do 3 or 4 characters. When I love comic books as a whole, and I love sci-fi as a whole, you know, I love video games as a whole. So I've never, ever thought that you should limit yourself in any regard. If you like something, you get out there and you do it because, one, you're doing it for you. And if it makes you happy and it's not hurting anybody, so be it. You know, I've always been against anybody trying to tell somebody, no, you don't have the right build for this, or you don't have the right complexion for this. That's garbage. So you tell those people to kick rocks, and you keep it moving, and you just do what you want to do and have fun at the con.
Yeah, I agree. I will die on this hill. I will die and resurrect on this hill repeatedly. Cosplay is not a movie audition. Cosplay is not a lookalike contest. So just like you said, you don't have to have the right complexion, the right ethnicity, the right genitals, the right height, the right anything. You know, do what you want. If you're not trying to be that, I actually know one cosplayer who is lobbying to try to be the next Wolverine. So unless you're trying to do that, do what you want. You don't have to look like the character. You don't have to act like the character, any of that. So, yeah.
Word. A word. So what is your most favorite cosplay you've ever done so far? I know I've done a lot, but you could just pick one or two. That.
They're going to do this all
favorite that I've done so far, which I get a lot of accolades with, is Luke Cage. So that one is by far, I think, is the number one. So
I'm going to interject again. We take this man to the con the next year. He said, I want to do something. I'm like, look, let's get a yellow shirt. I'll iron on Cage on the front of the shirt. We'll just go for it and make it happen. I'll get some tight jeans. Yep, that's all he had was tight jeans. Get some tight jeans. And I was like, hey, let's do it. And I bought a chain that looked like a real chain, and it looked rusted. I was like, let's just go. Again, we all worked on our costumes for months. We get to the con. He's the star in a T-shirt and jeans.
That's what we do together within like an hour.
I think it took us an hour to put it on.
at least, and that was ironing on the Cage on the shirt. Yeah.
He's a winner. He's the main character of your story.
Yeah, pretty much. He's so lucky.
You know, I'm gonna interject on top of that. Like, that's why another hill I'll die on. Like, effort is not required in this. Exactly. You know, like, I put on the quickest thing I could put on today, right? And, you know, you got some people, you got some elitists out there. I'm like, oh, this person over here is getting more attention than me. I worked hard on my cosplay, but this person, all they did was this. That's not required unless you're entering a costume contest, which requires effort. Like, effort's not, yeah. You have somebody who did what he did, and it blows up.
Oh,
so
it
blows up.
And to answer that as well, like I said, when I started out, I wore Rogue and Chun-Li, and those cosplays were commissioned, and it cost a lot of money. Yeah. But one of my favorites to wear is Catwoman, any version of Catwoman, to be honest. And I bought a Catwoman online. I didn't make it. It was like $45. It came to me, and I was like, well, I'm going to rock it. I put it on, and the body was right.
The body was bodying.
It was doing its thing. And I went there and killed it in a costume that I ordered online. It came like a week later, and it was like $45. So it does not matter, honestly. It really doesn't. So I love wearing, basically to say, I love wearing Catwoman. I've done Jim Ballant Catwoman, which is the purple. I've done Jim Lee Catwoman, the black. I've done Arkham City Catwoman. I love Catwoman.
I mean, as you should. She's amazing. I love Catwoman too.
For me, it's so funny, and this is why I'm so bad. So one of my favorite costumes to cosplay was Black Cat, because it was one of my big gender band costumes, and I had so much fun because I was sexy that day. I was super sexy. And I showed up to that shoot, and there was a lot of beautiful people in cat costumes, and a lot of girls walked up, and I got that one line I needed to hear to feel good. There was a young lady and said, I mean, why is he here in a female costume, and he's looking better than us? And I was like,
Slaying.
thank you.
Slay the house down.
Your body was doing what it was
My body was bodying. This was pre-COVID.
Slay the house down.
Pre-COVID.
Everyone was on that COVID skinny. The COVID skinny.
Oh, okay. I think my favorite cosplay that I've done was my as Guardian Storm. Yeah, because I just like, truthfully, I wasn't even familiar with the character at the time. Of course, I knew about Storm, but I didn't know there was an Asgardian Storm. But then I saw this statue, and I was like, that's my next cosplay. So, yeah, I worked out my Asgardian Storm, and that's been my favorite. So I feel cheated sometimes because I spend all this time making intricate costumes for other people, and I don't have time for myself, so I feel neglected. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get me some more costumes that I really like for myself.
For me, I typically wear a lot of cosplays that have helmets or cowls, things that hide my face, because I just think they're the coolest looking characters in comic books. So originally, I think Darth Nihilus was my favorite for a very long time, and I finally made something that I like better than that when I rocked my Doctor Doom at Dragon Con last year. So I'm a villains person, and that's the ultimate villain for me, so it's like, job well done. Now I can stop.
Like, now you can, like, we completed all the boxes. So, because, like, did everyone answer?
I think so.
I wasn't gonna go because I don't really have one of my cosplays that I'm like, oh, that's my number one favorite. I guess if I pick one, I'll say the one the one I'm proud of the most, because I call myself a costume assembler because I don't make nothing. Like I don't know how to put, I don't sew, I can sew a straight line and a simple curve. That's about it. But right. Thank you. So speaking of that, the one that I am proud of the most is the one that I made the most. I didn't make it 100%, but the majority of it I made. So I did. It started with just Rain from Mortal Kombat, and I made the tablet, I think, if I'm saying that name properly. I made that, and I sewed some other parts of it together, but then I also made a mashup out of it. I found out that Rain was actually named after Prince. So I was like, oh, I got to do that. So I call it the ninja formerly known as Rain. So I sewed some buttons onto, you know how Prince has that asymmetrical button fly on his pants, so I sewed that on there, and I actually made a prop guitar. It's like it's in the shape of that Prince symbol, but it also has the Mortal Kombat logo on it.
Oh,
and then it's
nice.
got some blood all over it because I just fatality somebody with it. So I want to say 60-ish% of the costume I made myself. So not to renege on what I said about effort, but I'm proud of it because something that I actually did myself when I normally don't. So yeah.
I'm gonna need a picture. Anyone got a picture of that? I want to see it. Because I have a Prince cosplay too. Awesome.
You got the phone now.
Oh, all right. So, yeah, you got it? Okay. So when it comes to, like, cosplaying, like, there's closet cosplay, there's assembling cosplay. Like, how would y'all describe, like, cosplaying on a budget for people that really want to, like, start, but they don't really have, like, the funds to just commission a costumer?
Love it. We used to do a panel called Cosplay on a Budget, and it is amazing. You can create, I don't know how many looks if you have black pants, black shirt, black mask. You can come out and be a ton of people. When I say I rocked Matrix, and I rocked, oh God, y'all gonna slap me. What's the guy over Avengers? I forgot his name. Nick Fury. I know, I should be smacked. So I was able to do Matrix, Nick Fury, Blade, I think all with the same stuff. All with the same look. So cosplaying on a budget is an amazing thing to do. Closet cosplay is great. Barter cosplay, if you trust the person that you're sharing the cosplay with, if they're clean, and you know that they're clean. It's so many ways to get the look without spending a whole lot of money. Go ahead, Ree.
Also, the thrift store is a great place to start and end. Because honestly, I do know how to sew, but I'm not very good at making patterns. So what I would do is I go to the thrift store, and like for my Apache chief, when we did the Super Friends, he wears a vest. And so I went to the thrift store, got a vest, took it apart on the seams, and then I traced it out to make the pattern. And I just added a little extra for the seam allowance, and then I, was able to come up with my cosplay. So the thrift store is definitely a place to go if you know how to sew. Even if you don't, I will be doing Kim Possible, and I put her together from the thrift store. I went to the thrift store, I got green cargo pants, I got the black top, I had the boots already. Some of the stuff you might have in your closet already. So the thrift store is definitely a place to go. I wish we had like a projector, because I purposely pulled up a picture of my red She-Hulk. You can see it there. That's actually my Catwoman costume deconstructed.
Oh, that's
So that same costume that I wore for Catwoman that I ordered online, we ripped it and all this other stuff, and then I was painted red, and I was red She-Hulk because the belt came up here. I'll have to show it if anybody wants to see it. And then I ordered another Catwoman so that I can have Catwoman and red She-Hulk. So you can repurpose things. You can go to the thrift store. Just use your imagination. Like, where can I get this for cheap if you want to just put it together?
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, like I'm really big. I'm pretty sure everybody here is as well, but I'm pretty big on recycling things. I use the same harnesses and holsters for my Snake Eyes cosplay that I use for my. I do a gender bend of Domino from X-Men, both versions, so I use some of the same stuff for that. I have a black suit, and I use it for 3 different costumes. I use it for. I did a mashup of. I call it Jules Windu. I mixed Jules Winfield from Pulp Fiction and Mace Windu from Star Wars. So I use that. That suit for that. I dress up as Rude from Final Fantasy VII, and then I do Father Gabriel from Walking Dead. Same black suit, all 3 times.
same black suit.
Yeah, recycling. I'm like, I'm gonna get all the mileage I can out of this suit. Oh, for who? I don't know who wanted to see the ninja formerly known as Rain, but this is. Oh, okay. That's it. Oh, hold on. There we go.
What I want to add for Walter, what I love, when he started out, he was making boot covers, because I was always looking for special boots and that color of the boot. But when I was like, this dude I could wear my favorite boots, and he can just put a boot cover on it for every color that I want. That's the way I'm gonna have to roll. That way.
In your pocket. 10 pairs of boots in your pocket.
10 pair of boots.
Look, just use boot covers. Just 1 pair of boots, 10 different covers.
Exactly.
I ran a pair of Gotham boots. I don't play them Gotham boots, man. There'll be Batman one day. There'll be M. Bison the next day. I'll rock some Overwatch with them after that. Those boots have been through hell. It's probably time to get a new pair, because it's a few years now, but if they're not cracking, use them for everything, because nobody knows the difference.
Now, we're not telling you guys to look at us too closely so you can say, yeah, that's that same thing they wore.
Don't be calling nobody out.
Open. Don't walk around.
That's rude.
Just enjoy the whole look, the whole vibe.
That and Walmart swim shoes. Almost all my armors would get to the feet. There's a pair of Walmart swim shoes inside those things. Keep it cheap.
There you go.
Falling on a budget. We love it. Especially in this economy. Whew. All right. So when it comes to like memories that you've had in a cosplay, like at an event, what's probably one of the most memorable ones? Ooh. Those are my favorite stories.
I'll go first. So I cosplayed Raven, and it was my first gender bend, and I didn't know how it would be received. I was like, I'm just going to do it. The funny thing about that story is I went in a little timid. I was like, make Raven more masculine. And my designer at the time was like, sure. My costume had 2 slits up both sides of the leg instead of just 1 slit. So I looked a lot more. I don't know what masculine was for her, but it was different. Nonetheless, it was very sexy. But I went to do a panel that next year, and 3 people in there said, if it wasn't for you, Bar Fox, I wouldn't feel comfortable cosplaying other races and other genders, because your pictures are out there and you're doing it unapologetically. It gave us the strength to do it. And I was like, this is what it's all for, right here. So it touched my heart. All right, your turn, Ree.
I think I have 2. The first one would be that I am actually a comic book character, and I am Interface from George Perez's comic book series Sirens. May he rest in peace. When I actually had that costume made, and we did a private photo shoot. And when he saw me in that costume, he was just like floored because he couldn't believe that I just gotten it done. And I did the photo shoot and we hugged and we just took these pictures, and it was just an amazing.
Wait, I don't think they heard you. Did y'all hear she is an original comic book character by George Perez in his series Siren.
She is a canon character.
She's a canon character.
I mean,
It's her
my
likeness,
name, my face,
her name,
everything.
George Perez. So that's dope.
Yes. So when I came in with the costume, he was so excited to see it, and I was happy to be it because we put a lot of time and money into making that costume. So I've only worn it that one time, unfortunately. I still have it. I just have only worn it that one time. I wanted to wear it again with him, but he is no longer here. So there's that. But anyway, the next memory would be Apache Chief. I have to tell this story because I don't want to get sad. I have to tell this story. But the first time we did the Super Friends, I was a gender bend Apache Chief, and I made my own costume as I talked about the thrift store and this and that. I sewed this little bra top. And for some reason, we were falling off that night. We're getting our costumes on and everything. And Bar Fox was really in a bad mood. He was in there like going off on everybody, and I'm like, Lord. So I couldn't get my bra on that I had sewed. I had sewed it without a seam allowance, so it was like spot on, and I couldn't get it on. I'm like, who is the least angriest person in this room that I can get to help me? Because he was already mad because we were so late coming out in our costumes. So I'm like, Larry, come here. And he literally came in, and he's like trying to stuff me in this bra that I had made that was spot on. And I'm like, he was like, I'm going to have to cut it. I'm like, I don't give a, cut it. I'm like, cut it. So he had to cut me on the side, not me, but the bra on the sides, and shove the boobs in there. Can I say boobs? I'm sorry. Shove them in there, and and we came. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I know. So that was like a great memory for me.
Mine is going back to Luke Cage. I was doing breakfast that morning, and this lady walked up to me. She said, I don't want to call you out or anything. I know you're the guy that played Luke Cage on the Netflix series. I said, no, I'm not. She's like, no, it's okay. You don't have to tell me. I promise you. I promise you I am not him. She said, no. She said, but can I just get a photo with you? I said, sure, but I'm not the guy. She's like, no, I just want to show my friend. I said, okay. I said, this is just between me and you. I am that guy. Just get a photo.
Oh, my God. No, you did not.
So the crazy thing about it, I had on a yellow shirt and just regular black jeans, and I met up with you that same day. So we was walking around the celebrity, Walk of Fame or whatever. So people kept coming up to me. They was like, "Can I get a selfie with you?" I said, "Sure."
They honestly thought he was the guy from Luke Cage, and I'm gonna tell you now, the hate was real from me. I kept rolling my eyes like, "Y'all can't shoot us, not him." I'm like, "Really?"
He looks completely different.
I was a little jelly, but I was like, "Really?"
She was jealous, but anyway, I kept walking. People kept coming up to me. Finally, I got to Mike Coulter's table. He was gone to get something to eat, but he came back. I said, Sharita, look what he got on.
They were wearing the same stuff.
Oh, they had on the same outfit.
Same thing.
The same
outfit.
So he looked at me. We went on live, on his Instagram live. He was like, close but no cigar. So
Yes.
that was my favorite moment.
Yes.
How does he always get these winning moments? How are you dressed just like Michael Coulter on the same day?
On the same day.
We're not bitter or nothing, but we just saying.
We ain't mad, we just saying.
That's why we call him the ambassador of cosplay. Nobody gets the stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Not to say, I guess one of my favorite moments was, so like that year when I first started doing cosplay commissions, like I was so busy doing stuff for other people, I did not have any time for myself at all. I had no new costumes for myself that year. And I was cool because, like, when I walked into Dragon Con that year and saw all these people walking around in costumes that I made, it was just the most awesome feeling. Everybody, but it just made it so worth it. So that's my memory.
All right, I got a couple. I'll make them quick. So the year before this thing happened, I debuted this is only like my second cosplay ever. I called it Jango Fett, but it was Jango from Star Wars mixed with Django Unchained. So next year, we're all in the Dragon Con group and everybody's posting their work in progress pictures and everything. So I made some improvements to it. So I posted a side-by-side of what I did the year before and what I upgraded it to. And big, long caption explaining what I did and everything. Someone had taken just the picture. Of course, they don't grab the caption. They took just the picture and posted it on Reddit. So all of a sudden, my coworkers are telling me, Myron, are you on Reddit? No. Dude, you're like the top post on Reddit. I'm like, what does that mean? So apparently I'm the top post on Reddit for like the whole day. And my dumb behind decided to look at the comments.
Oh no.
Like 90% of them were good, but the bad ones stick out. It was full of people who didn't know the difference between Jango Fett and Boba Fett. So I got accused of putting a random Fett helmet on a random character and calling it something Fett. But I'll save y'all I won't go down all of the insults, but the good thing was for every person who said something ridiculous, somebody else checked them in the comments. So I didn't have to say anything. I was like, my faith in humanity was destroyed and rebuilt all at the same time. The other thing was, speaking of Luke Cage, one of our friends, Dominican Knight Cosplay, I think in 2017, he did a photo shoot at Dragon Con for all the Marvel Netflix characters. And I'm like, what can I do for this? And I'm like, okay, I'm the kind of person, if everybody and their mama's doing this, I'm gonna go do this. So I knew there was gonna be a crap ton of Luke Cages, a crap ton of Iron Fists, a crap ton of Daredevils, a crap ton of Jessica Joneses. I did Cottonmouth from Luke Cage. Now, let me preface this by saying I am not against people. I'm not the kind of person who thinks, oh, only one person can do this character. Like, I don't care. I will defend Harley and Deadpool cosplayers up and down. But it does sometimes feel good when you're the only person there. So I was the only Cottonmouth in the sea of Luke Cages and everybody else. So me and the other villains, there was a couple of Kingpins, a couple of Kilgraves there. So we all took pictures together, and it looked like a hip hop album of all the villains. Now, I actually had a wardrobe malfunction it wasn't I can't really call it a malfunction because it was already malfunctioning when I put it on. I didn't realize it was too late. I didn't realize till I started walking that my fly was broken on my pants. And I was like, okay, how's this gonna work? Fortunately, I borrowed a RPG, not a real one, of course, but I borrowed a bazooka from a friend because, there's that scene where Cottonmouth blows up the restaurant that Luke Cage is in. So every time I got asked for a picture, I just stood straight up and held that rocket right here. So only people who I've actually told this story to know that my fly was broken that day. But yeah.
Finally?
You got it.
No, I have two. I'll make them quick. I was actually part of the very first impromptu large Dragon Con photo shoot. Before that, it had never been done. And it happened by accident. A lot of people that just happened to be in SCF Superhero Costuming Forum and random cosplayers were just in the Marriott one day in the dealer's hall area. And we just noticed that the people on one side were all Marvel and the people on the other side were all DC, and we just fought downstairs, and a lot of people just started taking pictures, and it turned out to be really, really cool. So that year, we literally joined up with Superhero Costuming Forum, and everybody planned out the next official shoot, which was the first large Dragon Con photo shoot in front of the SunTrust building. It was a large DC shoot. And that shoot changed Dragon Con forever because every year after that, it became the large DC photo shoot and the large Marvel photo shoot. And before that, people were just walking the floor and taking pictures at cons, but nobody had ever done a giant group thing. at the time.
So that's what set off like everybody being at the back of the Hilton, the photo shoot schedule, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, at first it was the SunTrust building, until we lost the rights to use the SunTrust building. Then we found, some spot at the Marriott here and there, and then eventually it ended up in the Hilton steps. But the next thing was our Black Lanterns. So we used to do a thing where we try to always be some of the first people to do something that happened in comic books. So when the Black Lanterns first appeared, we debuted our costumes at what would be called MegaCon in Florida. And it just so happened to be that Dan Didio was driving by, in his car. And he immediately just screeched the brakes and stopped the car and ran out of the car and took a photo shoot with our Black Lantern group, and I got to pretend to rip his heart out. And next thing you know, 2 months later, that image ended up in all of DC Comics. So that was the first time I was ever in a comic book after that, so it was pretty cool. Superfit was there too. We were with one of our old school costuming families.
All right. It's really nice to hear somebody so ancient that you were at the first shoot at Dragon. I'm so impressed.
Why are we taking shots at people on this panel?
Look, my hair is great and I don't hide it, okay?
So wrong.
I look good, Gray, sir.
You do look good, though.
I'm gonna get one more real quick if we got time.
Yeah, you can talk over it.
So my wife cosplayed with me once. She actually said in her wedding vows that she would cosplay with me one time and one time only. So in 2015, she dressed I did Bishop from X-Men, but I did when he was briefly a villain and he had a cybernetic arm opposite the Cable, all that kind of stuff. But so she did Storm. And as we were walking back to our hotel room, she was like, she had gotten so many compliments and everything, and she's like, "Babe, does my costume really look that good?" I'm like, "Girl, seriously, all these compliments you got?" Like, so no sooner than I finished saying that, this random car full of black women roll their windows down. "Work it, girl, work it!" Yes. Okay, they said a certain thing that I can't say because of kids, but they were like, "Yes, B, yeah." Like, so random car with black women did that. So I look at her, I'm like, "See, I know you don't believe my words when I tell you don't take my compliments, but there you go." So
It's better from other people. It really is. Ain't nothing like a group of black women coming at you like, "Work it." Ain't nothing better.
Yes, queen, yes.
That's how you know you're killing it that day.
Exactly.
That was my favorite part. So, fun little questions. Any random cosplay pet peeves? Little weird ones.
From ourselves or other people?
I guess both, maybe. You can do both.
I hate it when I forget to get some insoles. That is not where you go cheat people. Get some insoles in those boots. Get some cushion in those shoes. Because, Lord, when you don't, you pay the price. So that's my pet peeve that I do to myself. I don't know how I forget it. I buy these expensive insoles and I put them in every shoe, but sometimes I try to switch them out. And like clockwork, every time I'm rushing, because I don't do my dress rehearsals like I should do dress rehearsals. I'm grabbing the boots and running out, and it's the very pair that I've taken the insoles out of, and I have to pay the price at the con.
Or if you're getting a costume made, get pockets made into the costume.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, for pockets.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of that now.
mine is not getting misidentified, because that always happens. Like, for instance, when I do Rude from Final Fantasy VII, even when I'm with other Final Fantasy people, I never get called Rude. I get called Men in Black. I get called Cobra Bubbles from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh my gosh.
I get called Hitman. But that part isn't the annoying part. The annoying part is you can't correct someone, no matter how respectful you do it. You cannot correct someone without looking like a bad guy. Like, for instance, if I dress as Rain, somebody called me Sub-Zero. I'm like, not quite, but close. "Oh, come on." I'm like, "What? Don't I get points for it?" Points for what? We're not playing the game.
It's a contest,
So yeah, you can't correct somebody without looking like the bad guy. And then the other thing I would say is, I think everybody hates this, but walking by somebody and it's like, "Did you wash any time recently?" And I say this because I mentioned earlier, my other hobby is I salsa dance, right? So I would also go to salsa conventions, like basically the same thing, but for like you taking dance classes, you're dancing hard from like midnight to 4 in the morning. Actually, they had it in this same room. There was some salsaing going on. Anyway, so if I'm at that event, we're doing something all weekend that makes sweat. I have never walked through a cloud of funk at a salsa event, but I do with these conventions. So I'm just like, and of course I'm not talking about people with sensitivities and allergies. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the people who just refused to. So yeah,
You're just saying kind of take a bath before you come, right? That's it, maybe.
Is that everybody?
It's really small, but it's kind of not. But it's small, but a mouthful of food is not the time to ask for a picture. Like, seriously. Oh, my gosh. It's happened to me.
Happens all the time.
Like, at least let me chew it up and, like, pretend to swallow it a little bit. Like, just a mouthful of food is not the time. It just really isn't.
You can just change your character to Miss Glut.
He said something about they fight all the time.
I don't know. That's normally me and Larry, but I'm all the way over here, so I can't box with him right now.
It's okay. I don't.
so it's a good thing I'm
That's
separated.
all right.
I don't
Just
mind.
hit
I
with the
don't
elbow
mind. I
a
don't
little
mind.
bit.
Put some
for me.
boots on what to say.
I don't know. For me, I'm upset that Dragon Con tries to believe that the con ends at 1 o'clock now at the Marriott. So
God.
I remember we used to be there till 6 in the morning, and they left us the heck alone. And now they got the cops up there making you go to bed at 1:30 or what? It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Party at Dragon Con.
Yeah, Dragon Con is one wild. You know, we didn't pay all that money to go to bed at 1:30.
Yeah.
Or go to that one lame rave that they have in that one room off to the side. No,
That is
we're
a
gonna do our own thing.
So when did they used to let us stay like that? The 60s?
No, bruh, stop with the bullshit. Literally right after COVID. No, you know that changed right after COVID.
Go on, Tay. Ask your question, girl.
Okay.
He coming for me, but
Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions?
Anything you want to say? How wonderful we look today? Anything?
No, don't feed him. Do not feed him.
As y'all can see, it's a mistake to get all of us on the same panel at the same time. That's not a. It's a good thing, but it's not a good thing.
We're being good. We're being good because it's 1 o'clock.
I was gonna. Oh, never mind. You're elderly. Go ahead. I'll let you go.
Whatever. We're being good because it's 1 o'clock.
My man with the glasses, what's up?
So my question is for all you guys. So I know throughout the year you guys share and everything for Dragon Con, but you have so many different ideas that come together and so many for content. So how do you guys make it feel smaller for your costumes going out? For example, you guys got this year and now going through different costumes next year. And then during that process, you get other ideas you also want to do. How do you,
Mine is quick and simple. Forecasting. I come from the world of forecasting. What movies dropping next year that I actually like? What characters that I actually like? So if something like that is coming up, I know it's going to be fun. I pick something from that universe or that fandom and I do it. And that way I can be relevant. More people will recognize it maybe. And if not, I can also be that one character that I think people are not going to do from that space. So I like to do that.
Yeah, I just have a list of dream cosplays. You know, even if a new character comes out and I like it, he got a cool outfit, cool helmet, whatever, cool power set, I just add it to the list.
For me, I'm determined to not participate in Con Crunch. So what I do is I treat Dragon Con as like my year beginning of my cosplay year. So everything new that I want to do, Dragon Con is my deadline for it. So that means I got a whole year to get it done, and any other cons that happen in between Dragon Con and the next Dragon Con, if I got something ready for it, I'll wear it. But if it's not ready for it, So if my rule is if within a month of the con, if I don't have it 90% done, it ain't coming. More power to everybody who does this, but I'm not bringing the sewing machine to the hotel room. I'm not sitting in the hotel room like fixing making a costume that's not done yet, because I'm just like.
Them too.
Look.
Oh, no. I'm looking for an area where I can paint some real quick. This is at Dragon Con. And I'm like, really?
I make a lot of
You
stuff.
think it's going to rain?
And I
Maybe.
do my stuff at the end. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I've made stuff at Dragon Con. Way before I'm supposed to wear it.
That's no shade. It's just I can't do it. I have nothing to do it.
Oh, no, it's shade over here. It's shade. No shade.
There's one time I took my sewing machine to Dragon Con.
Why?
And I learned a big lesson that year. I will never do that again because I missed out on some things. But most of us up here, we cosplay together, like in themes, so we'll get together and we'll sit down and be like, okay, what are we doing this year? And so we come out, we plan our costumes and who's going to be what character. So that's always fun.
We were ready for Shazam, family, because we did all the color, but we fell off.
We did fall
Hard, crashed and burned. But we did luckily get a shoot like the week before the movie dropped. So we could put some stuff out because we did not get the costumes together in time. But it's stuff like that. We forecast a lot of the times what's coming up. Anniversaries. Luke Cage had his anniversary, I think, 2 years ago. Wonder Woman had her anniversary. So, we base it around stuff like that so we can try to get the most bang for the buck, but have fun and do it our way and add our own touch to it.
And whatever I'm watching, I add stuff to my list because now I'm watching Demon Slayer, so I have, people from Demon Slayer on my list to do and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have. So if y'all want to shout out y'all socials really quick, they have a table literally in the back corner right over there. And if y'all want to still sign up for the cosplay contest, sign-ups end at 5. So yeah.
You can sign up at the front. We are definitely taking a group picture for everyone that wants to participate. But let's start with you, Ree, and you tell people where they can find you.
Okay, I am super fit with Ree on all social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I post workouts, recipes, healthy ideas, things like that, and my cosplay. That's why it's super fit with Ree. So it's fitness and cosplay.
I am Larry McAllister 1 on Instagram, and Larry Loves Cosplay on Facebook.
You can find me anywhere at Bar Fox, that's with 2 R's and 2 X's, or at Cosplay Your Way. I see someone wearing some beautiful Cosplay Your Way. Stand up so they can see with the logo here.
She's not the only
Slaying, killing it, slaying.
one out there representing.
Oh, we got 2.
Oh, we got 2.
Yeah, show them, baby. Show them.
Show off, man. Yes.
So you can find me at Cosplay Your Way on all social media.
Okay, and you can find me on social media as Dean's List, as you're on the Dean's List at school. So list is spelled L-Y-S-T, so Dean's List, L-Y-S-T on social media.
And he does commissions.
All right, you can find me at all the social medias at Smooth Cosplayer, Smooth with a V-E instead of a T-H, and Player instead of Player. Also, Smooth Voices, if anyone is looking for any kind of narration, voice, anything like that. So Smooth Voices on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. I forgot where I put it up at, but yeah, nothing's on there right now, but that'll change very soon. So yeah, that's it.
Shattered Images LLC on Instagram and Dwight Dunbar on Facebook and any other social media applications.
Okay, great. I'm MZ_PUPLUV on all socials as well. Had to put that out there. But thank you guys for coming here. Give a round of applause for Cosplay Your Way.